Flight boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about how to understand the North and the South Node. Because I get a lot of emails about this, and due to the information or lack thereof information on the internet, people still find a reason to not fully understand the North and South Node. So a lot of times I like to get people to understand, sometimes it's the simple things you have to understand first before you go to the furthest distance things. And Sagittarius is understanding this the most. Now, by me being a Sagittarius moon, it's dealing with long distance and long distance travels. Now Sagittarius sun signs may do this externally. Moon signs do this internally. So traveling within the yin realm a lot of times deals with the moon. Now your moon is your moon. So this is dealing with your emotional feelings, your emotional comfortability, and dealing with your emotional uncomfortabilities. Now the nodes are like the travels that the moon have had. So when your snapshot got snapped, the vibrational energies that's going through the frequency of the spaces that the moon just left, like I said in my previous video, how everything is locations, right? Everything is just spaces within spaces. Everything is just a space, and each space vibrate on its own accord, right? So when things passes through that space, it picks up the energetic vibration, and the lights that's on that object is vibrating in that frequency at the moment. So wherever that light hits, pick up those frequencies. Now, when we talk about the moon, we're talking about the moon's shadow. But that energy ain't go nowhere. So when your snapshot, when you was born, boom, your moon had your whole planetary alignment had a snapshot. Where your moon was at, where the moon was coming from, that all that space and energy, we call that the South Node. The space where your moon was heading, even though the moon been there before, but when you was snapshot, the moon haven't went there yet. So those energies and vibrations that the moon is getting or wants to step in or wants to experience, that's the North Node. See what I'm saying? So it's the nodes is the node. The north is the top node of the moon. The south node is the bottom half of the moon. Now, but based upon a travel. So since you tilted on Earth, because Earth is on an axis, then the way the north node is going to align itself, going to appear tilted. Now, if you lived up there, it may look at itself and be like, nah, nigga, I ain't tilted. I'm a node, but I ain't tilted. But you see what I'm saying? But since you live on Earth, you receive the energies the way the energies are perceived. This is the slight difference between tropical and sidereal or Vedic. Now, going back to the North and South Node. Now, before we get into it, these are things we have to actually talk about. Now, let's talk about, because the moon in general deals with your comfortability and uncomfortability level, right? Now, here's why. Let's talk about comfortability and uncomfortability. Comfortability is left brain. Uncomfortability is right brain. So we know it's yin and yang now. We know yin realm, you're dealing with more of uncomfortability. Yang realm, you're dealing with more of comfortability. Now, when you're being comfortable is like mechanisms that you run to, right, in order to feel comfortable in the circumstance that you're experiencing, right? So a lot of times it could be even things that you just do by nature, things that you're good at by please don't tell me it's about to die. Let me hear you do this. All right. By nature. You know what I'm saying? So these are things that you may have carried from a previous life. So these are maybe traits that you're carrying from your South Node. Now, think about it like this. Anytime you feel uncomfortable, right? You run to you do something, or you run to a situation, or you run to a yin realm location, or you do something externally, right? In order to feel comfortable again, right? Because when you feel uncomfortable, it puts you in a situation that it makes you feel like it's weird. It makes you feel like something's not right, right? Now, here's the misconception that you get from that. And here's the misconception why everyone may miss their spiritual path. Because the world is orchestrating you to feel so comfortable. And for you to try to build comfortability in your life, right? And then if the world is geared towards the left brain, it's going to be geared towards left brain attributes, right? So anytime you're gonna start to build resent in the human psyche to uncomfortableness. So anytime you deal with any form of fashion that's dealing with the energy of being uncomfortable, you run to mechanisms to make you feel comfortable. And not only that, society put you in realms of realities and portals to make you feel like that's what actually you're supposed to do. So the resentment against the right brain go down so far into the human psyche and vessel that you need people like me to get that shit out. You see what I'm saying? Or Tahuti or none of these motherfuckers is gonna let you know about this shit. Uriel came here and teach the knowledge of the stars, and they ain't even want to put my name in that motherfucker. You see what I'm saying? But let me slide away that ego program, because that goes into a lot of other fears of realities that may fuck up this video and this message that I'm trying to give right now as the messenger, without the purse that your favorite rappers is wearing. You see what I'm saying? Now, we talk about uncomfortability is looked at as a bad thing, right? But here's the thing: you're never going to find you're never going to find your spiritual path without being through an uncomfortable situation. Because here's the thing: North Node is your uncomfortability, South Node is your comfortability. So 9 times out of 10, for you to fulfill or find your spiritual path, some point in time in this experience you having right now, you're going to have to go through an uncomfortable situation. Now, a lot of times the North Node carry traits and elements of situations that you feel uncomfortable with diving into those kind of energies anyway. Now, the houses of the North and South Node is going to direct you where these actual things may take place. Because here's the thing, like I said, if the North Node is the yin realm because it's uncomfortability, then we know what makes you comfortable. A lot of time we know that's left brain. That's yang. So a lot of times in this experience, you got to run towards a person, place, or thing externally in order to make you feel comfortable internally in the yin realm. But anytime you start to feel uncomfortable in the yin realm, then you run to that again. But see, here's the thing: when you're uncomfortable in the yang, that makes you force you into the yin realm. Now in the yin realm, think about it like this. Say you're in a situation where you already know what you know. Somebody try to come introduce you to something else, and you're like, nah, I don't want to know that, whatever like that, right? That's almost like you not wanting to learn nothing new, or not even wanting to decipher it if it's right or wrong for you. You know what I'm saying? Now, you're doing that same thing in the yin realm when you're uncomfortable. When you're uncomfortable, your soul, your yin realm, is in a location that it never been before. And instead of trying to learn it and get comfortable and understand if this is what's for you or not, you run on light of the impact. Soon as you feel uncomfortable about something, you run. You see what I'm saying? So you end up not even knowing how to handle uncomfortable situations throughout your life in general that happen to you externally. Now here's the thing. Now, the North Node, to set you on your spiritual path, something has to happen. Right? Something has to happen. But it doesn't always have to be something negative, which that's the most prominent way it may come sometimes, because when you're vibrating so low, right, it only could come to you through low vibrational things in order so you to rise up out of that vibrational thing and know that where your spiritual path is actually at. So when you cling on to so many low vibrational things, your spiritual path, your North Node attack you in that way and make highly uncomfortable situations for you. But look, check this out. Now, when your houses, the house of the South Node is going to tell you what area of life that you run to actually make yourself feel comfortable. Because your South Node going to tell you what makes you comfortable, but the house is going to tell you what area of life that you do that the most. For an example, if your South Node is in Virgo, which mine is, what makes you comfortable is being able to be mutable or being able to adapt to how other people get things working, how other people think, and how other people come to practical conclusions. Then I come to a broad conclusion on how this thing is supposed to work and how it makes sense to me in general. That's what makes me feel comfortable. So I'm always criticizing and analyzing, right? So how it's happening is in my second house. So my South Node is in the second house. So I'm doing that with people's values, what people value. What people have to offer to the world. I'm even criticizing myself, what I value, what I have to offer to the world. And what I value could be a person, place, or thing. And what I have to offer to the world could be internally or externally. Internally, it could be a gift, a talent, or something like that. Externally, it could be another person, place, or thing. So I'm constantly trying to perfect that thing. Nothing's going to be perfect. So in that area of life, I'm doing it in ways of criticizing and detailing other people's and my own until I come to a broad way of how to do that. Now, what makes me uncomfortable is now my North Node is in the 8th house. So what got me on my spiritual path, I had to go through a deep, intense situation, a situation I was in the dark about, a situation I was in the behind the scenes realm about, because the 9th house is the house of enlightenment, the 8th house is the house of dark, the behind the scenes realm, the life, death, sex, occult, greed, jealousy, motivation, passion, you know what I'm saying, all things that motivate a person. So I had to experience a situation I was in the dark about, and then when I got enlightened about it, the impact of that situation put me on my spiritual path. You see what I'm saying? Not going to get into details, but the spiritual path it put me on was, that's how it gave me insight. You see what I'm saying? Now, my North Node is Pisces. So, my spiritual path is already to add more spirit to things, add more fantasy, imagination, be more relatable with the emotional and connect more with the emotions and feelings amongst myself and others. You see what I'm saying? And how to be more passive and things of that nature. So and I have to do it and that's my North Node, and it's in the 8th house. So now my spiritual path trickled that area, and to continue my spiritual path, I have to add deep desire, deep willpower, alternative motive, life, death, sex, greed, astrology, occult, mysticism. And as long as I'm applying that to every situation that I can see that may transform or whatever like that, that's how I stay on my spiritual path. So I'm getting comfortable with my uncomfortable situations. You see what I'm saying? And the more and more you know how to get comfortable with uncomfortable situations, the more and more you know you're on your spiritual path, because you are experiencing what you haven't experienced before. Because if you already experienced something before, that's why you're comfortable with it, right? You experienced it before, right? But the only time you could be uncomfortable is when you experience something you haven't experienced before. So even if the situation is positive or negative, it's going to make you feel a certain way because you haven't experienced before. But don't run from it. Learn about it. Go into the yin realm, see if it's something you want to experience again or not, see if it's something you want to attach your never to or attach your I to, and then start to manifest and create that circumstance, that circle of events, that 360. You see what I'm saying? So that's how you look at the North and South Node. Your North Node is going to tell you your spiritual path. The house is in is going to tell you how it's going to happen and what areas of life you're going to find it. Like if your North Node is in the 7th house, then you're going to find your spiritual path through a relationship you have, any kind of relationship, business, friendship, partnership, relationship, or how you relate to people, places, and things. Through that area of life, and whatever happens in that area of life through those energies is how you're going to find your spiritual path. See what I'm saying? If your North Node is in the 5th house, then dealing with your creativity, your entertainment, your fun, the way you express yourself. That's how you're gonna find it. So something's gonna happen that make you depressed with the way you might get rejected through your creativity in an extreme way, or somebody may come who already experienced something like that, and they may come into your life, and that person may be the creative person that helped you get on your spiritual path. It could play out like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's how things play out when you look at the North and the South Node. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air. Shit about to die.